Hello everybody, welcome to another instalment of the Good Bit Podcast. Thank you very much for joining us this week. I'm very grateful for your time and what an episode you have chosen to join us for. We're talking about the British film classic which is Notting Hill, starring Hugh Grant, Julia Roberts and directed by Richard Curtis. An all-star cast for this one, ladies and gents, and an all-star guest joining me as well, one of my best friends joining me here all the way from Manchester. I don't know, is that a good Manchester accent? I'm not sure. Cameron Macleod, how are you doing, my brother? Lovely to see you. It is the first time I've seen you since before you moved.
Like a week before I moved, yeah.
Aye. So how's it all going? Well, first of all, explain to everybody who doesn't know you. Where are you?
Cameron, me and Chris have been pals for many a year. We figured it was probably about 8 years. My girlfriend and I were talking about it last night. But I'm currently down in Salford, sunny Salford in Manchester. Right. Doing a master's course.
Very good. And what, in film is it?
It's screen acting, so like film and television acting. Recently just did some motion capture work and green screen work, so that was pretty awesome. But yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah, okay, back to it. So, yes, so you're down there. It's a sunny day here in Glasgow. Are you missing home? Are you missing your friends like myself?
Obviously, every day. But, but yeah. No, it's been good fun. It doesn't feel like I've been away for that long, to be honest. Like,
no,
kind of in need of another holiday, but you know what I mean. Like, I need to come back up.
Aye. So when was that? When did we have that Costa? Was that last summer?
Aye, because I left in August time.
Oh my god.
So it was a week or a couple of weeks before I left, before I'd moved. Aye.
Crazy,
but it doesn't even seem that long ago, which is a scary thing.
No, I know. Well, maybe it might feel weird since you're the one that's moved, but in terms of like last time I saw you, like we sat outside, it must have been still like nice weather. Do you know what I mean?
It was because when we moved down, it was like just roasting. It was roasting. And it was just amazing. And now it seems like we've had the longest winter of ever.
And you were saying that like lots of people are like down there are thinking it's really, really cold, and you're thinking, get the shorts on.
Well, that's it, exactly. Like, as much as it's only like a 4-hour drive or something like that, you can feel the weather difference. You actually can. It's nuts. It's like people are like, it's cold today. I'm like, it's not cold. It's not cold.
Like, it's cold today. Oh, God.
It's all we talk about down here, actually.
The weather, I know. Well, that's good. So you were talking to your girlfriend last night about what we've been together. We've been friends
together,
for 8 years.
It must be about 8 years or something like that, because I think we met when I was like 13 or 14. And now I'm 22, so
and I'm 24.
Like 8, 9 years, right?
Right, so let's think. So the first show we did together was a production of Hairspray. Which was 2014.
2014, yeah.
Call it 8 years. It feels longer. I don't know why. Maybe it's just you. But I mean, I have very fond memories of that, like that kind of like Hairspray kind of time.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. I think it was more so because it was like the first time we were a wee bit older, and like we were doing a show and we were being friends with people who were older than us, and we were performing.
Because you're only like 2 years older than me, right? But I was in third year, and then and
I would have been fifth year, yeah.
Cutting about with folk in sixth year, and then like people that had left and stuff like that. I was just like, I'm just a wee guy here, like.
Always, as you know, you are the tallest person I know, and I'm usually the tallest people that people know.
Yeah, exactly.
So the fact that you're taller than me is crazy. So we would always I guess we always just looked older. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, for example, we'd have these like after show parties and things like that when we'd like go and people would just assume we were older. Do you remember the time that like a police officer was at
the police officer? A couple people got a bit too drunk, and he came up to us and he was like, "Oh well, at least you boys are the sensible ones." And
you boys are setting an example for the younger members.
And I'm like, aye, definitely kind of whatever in my head. Aye, brilliant, aye.
Not knowing where you are.
I'm like, who even are you?
I think I was sitting there going, oh yeah, you're right. And then you turned to me and you were like, I forgot how to stand up.
I wasn't that bad, no.
No.
There's been
But
times, but was it not at that point in my life?
and then we went on a wee while there where it was like we saw each other all the time. A couple of summers, where we were always like out together and most of parties, house parties when they were a thing when you were in school and things like that. So, we've had many a time together. And
Yeah.
then lo and behold, we ended up training at the same place as well, which is great.
Well, yeah. It was probably actually you that put me onto that. Really, like I knew
Right.
a few people that had went there. You know what I mean, through like Glasgow Acting Academy as well, and then obviously you were telling me. So just name dropped a few people in the audition, you know.
Yeah, I don't know if you know my people, but that's good. I did the same thing. Ryan Mackay is the one that I dropped the name of,
Yeah.
and not that it really, like, thinking back now, it doesn't matter. But like at the
Not
time, you
really,
think,
not
I know
really.
that person. Ask them about me. That's a reference, you know.
Aye. Well, I think at that age, what, you're 17,
Right.
18, going for an audition. It's just like, oh God, I need to do anything I can. Like, oh, I can do this as well. I can do right.
I swear, I'm good.
I know
I'm
this
good.
person. I know this person. I know this person. I know this person. They're just like, right, well, let's see your monologue now,
Let's see your
please.
pieces. So it was really
But
good
yeah,
because we live so close to each other.
yeah,
In my last year studying, you were able to give me a lift every morning or most mornings, which was great, and I was very grateful.
yeah.
And I still owe you for that all the many drives you gave me. So that was really nice that we had a nice country drive every morning. But we
Yeah.
had so many like fun and funny conversations. We thought this is a YouTube show. This is a
Yes.
YouTube show.
Yeah.
So we got our phone and we placed and blue tacked our phone to Cammy's
It
radio.
was, it was blue tack, so it was.
It was high tech.
Oh, well, you top of the range blue tack. That stuff.
Exactly.
Top of the range in the 1920s or whatever. You know, it was top of the range at some point, right?
And then we started filming our conversations. But I think at first it started just being like us having a conversation. But after a while, we started like planning, right, see that bit, you say this. And then we started trying to do wee scenes. And if you look back, it's like this weird kind of like grey area between not really acting, but also trying to do a performance. And I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just like buckled the whole time. Like, I'm just trying not to laugh the whole time because it's so ridiculous.
Oh man,
But they were so much fun.
But there were so many times in that were just like the one that always sticks in me is we were going to do a bit where I was shouting out the car because someone nearly crashed into me. And we were driving, and we were planning it. We were starting off this whole stuff, and a bus almost crashes into us, and we just look at each other and just go.
Because I think we were going to try and give each other a wee cue.
Yeah,
This is when we act as if someone nearly hits us.
Yeah.
And then like a huge bus.
A huge bus
actually nearly hit us.
almost nearly like takes the side off my car, and I was going to try and play it off, and I just went. No, I can't hear us. But we were stopped at a junction as well, so I can start going mental. Yeah, no. Oh, sorry, mate. We're just filming something for YouTube, mate.
We're doing a YouTube video. No, that feels like that's my excuse for a lot of things these days.
Well,
but it was called
yeah.
Chris and Cammy Take the Road. We went onto the YouTube audio library and we found this nice like country tune to be the theme song. And we did 2 seasons. And they were brilliant. They were so much fun. That was a time where I was trying to get a lot of content, and I would easily bring it back. The thing is, I still can't drive, so I need to get on that.
Yeah.
And I can take the road with other folk.
Well, no. Hold on a minute. I'm 50-50 stake in this. You get another person in there.
That's true. However, you're a while away now. I'll maybe drive down to get you, and I'll pick you up and then drive you back.
Chris takes the road for Cammy.
Aye. Chris takes the car to Cammy. Cammy gets in the car, Chris and Cammy take the road, then Cammy gets back out the car, Chris comes back up the road.
Well, yeah, it's a working title, I think.
Season 3.
It's a working title.
I'm going to take my glasses off because look, it's the screen's reflected off my glasses. Look,
Don't have that issue. I've got 20/20 vision sorted.
Well, some people are more fortunate than others. Anyway, how are you? I've not seen you in a while. You feeling good?
Feeling good, yeah. Touch wood, yeah. I have avoided COVID the full time.
You're like Lemmy.
Yeah. People often make that comparison, actually, but
I don't like that at all. I mean, I don't know your friends down there, right? Maybe you're the only Scottish person that they know, but then they just associate a Scottish person with another Scottish famous person. Oh, you sound like Lemmy.
Well, nah, they don't really, but I do often. People are like, oh, I love Lemmy. I'm like, well, yeah, He's good. He's great.
He was someone that we bonded over really early, wasn't it? Like we just started quoting
But
Lemmy on.
we were right there at the start of like his YouTube and streaming days, like, and yet you were the one that put me on to the Crazy Balloon.
The Crazy Balloon, that's right. Oh my god. Well, now like he's doing that full time. You know what I mean? As a Twitch
Big
streamer
time,
and
yeah.
stuff. But
Big time.
but for a while he was just testing the waters out and was on YouTube all the time doing that, and that was some of the funniest videos I've ever seen him done.
Oh
anyway.
man, yeah,
They were good.
yeah, definitely.
So how's it going down there then? So you're meeting people falling in love with you as usual.
Well, try my best, right? But but there's lots of opportunities to work with folk and meet with folk as well, which is good. It's big like a creative thing in the uni that I'm at, University of Salford. So there's always things coming through for like narration or helping out with some like ADR or doing like a student film and stuff like that. But there's loads of like casting calls and stuff that came through. Just last week, I was filming something with a production company, and they're doing like mental health films for the BBC. So I was in that for a little bit. So yeah, so far it's going well. The move is working out. You know what I mean?
Good.
So
that's always the nervous part, isn't it? Like, is this going to be worth it? You know.
That's what both Megan and I were like before we moved down. Just like, is it worth it? Is it worth it? And so far it is, because I've managed to create a lot of content and meet a lot of folk, and which is what it was for, really. Obviously to get the master's degree, but to meet folk, I think, is the main part of like performing arts colleges, universities, drama schools, right? It's like,
yeah, totally. So tell me about when you were younger and when you wanted to start performing. Like, is that something you've always kind of been into? I feel like we have had this conversation before, but not in a couple of years anyway. What was the first kind of instance where you said, I want to be an actor, I want to be performing?
Well, I've always been when I was a wee guy, I've always been a kind of creative sort of person, and just been in my own mind and like daydreaming, whatever. But it didn't really come until like I was in my final year of primary school, and we were doing our final show thing, like Lever show, whatever. But it was like we did what's that called? Guitar Hero. Yes. And I went out and be the singer, and that was my first real thing of like performing. And I mind just being like, oh man, this is amazing. And I obviously went to high school and I didn't do anything for a while, and I picked drama, and it was I wasn't going to pick it, and then my mum was like, well, what about Brad Pitt? How do you think he started acting? And I was like, oh, right, yeah, you're right, actually, you're right. And I was like, well, yeah, because I think, especially in Scotland, maybe in England as well, I'm unsure, and across the world, but it's like, you pick drama, you're automatically kind of lynched by the other lads, right? So there's always that issue.
I think that's probably like going out now, but it definitely was a thing when we were
when we were younger. Definitely for me, definitely for me. So I was kind of like, I shouldn't pick it, and then like I'd picked something else, and then before I'd even done a class in that one, I picked drama, and then I did Hairspray, and got thrust into the role of Corny Collins. I wasn't actually meant to be anything, but someone dropped out. So then I was made Corny Collins. Both the people that were playing Corny Collins had dropped out. So so our teacher, Miss Wildoon, shout out. She went, well, you're gonna have to be Corny Collins, and I went, all right. And then when we did the show, the rehearsals was just a laugh, and then when we did the show, I remember like the first number, just the curtains opened, and I was just like, oh, this is amazing. This is
nicest
absolutely
kids in
amazing.
town, is that right?
Yeah, nicest kids in town. It was like the first time that you'd see the character of Connor Collins, and I was just like, oh, I cannot wait for this. Everyone else was like nervous and all that, and I'm just like, I cannot wait for these curtains to open.
I'll tell you, I was the other person that wasn't nervous on the stage. I wasn't nervous whatsoever. I was nervous about...
Well, it's good nerves, right? With people like... Some people are like, oh, I don't want to do it.
But I mean, it was more so dread than anything else. The fact I was about to dance in front of people, that was my biggest thing, because I've got 2 left feet, can't sing, terrible, all that sort of stuff.
Well, I can hold a tune, but I can't dance. That's about it.
So, like, I wasn't even thinking about, oh my god, there's going to be lots of people here. I was nervous and dreading about the fact that I'm going to mess up these dance moves in front of so many people.
Yeah.
And it was not. It would have been fine if it was maybe just you, but it was the fact that it was like the whole team like on the stage doing this dance routine at the one time, and you know you're going to be out of place at one point. But I was in the opening number of the show, which is called "Good Morning Baltimore."
Yeah.
And there's a line in that song about there's a line in the song about a flasher or something. I think the song goes, "There's the flasher who lives next door," and it's like this. I've got this long trench coat, and I've rolled my skinny jeans because I was one of the nicest kids in town for Cammy's Cammy's performance, and I
Big
rolled
song.
I rolled my jeans up to my knees. So I was wearing this trench coat as if, like, people could just see my legs underneath the trench coat and stuff to give off that I'm flashing someone, right? So I did that, ran backstage, and you've got maybe, like, I don't know, 90 seconds or something until the end of the song.
Something stupid.
And I sprinted backstage, and we had, I don't know, like 4 or 5 members of staff that were like my teachers trying to like pull my trousers down like, to the right level and like get a belt on, put shoes on and stuff like that. So it was like a quick change, and it went like smoothly all the time, apart from the one time where it was like the opening night of the show, the audience is there, Cammy's at the front singing and stuff, and I just I didn't have time to put my shoes on. So I came out and I'm doing this dance routine just in my socks, and I was slipping all over the place, and that's when I was most like, oh my god, what am I doing? I should never dance again. You know what I mean? Did you remember like the process of us learning those dances and stuff? Because I think,
oh my goodness,
because for a while you were learning it with me, weren't you?
Yeah, because I was one of the nicest kids in town.
Yeah.
For a while before I became the nicest kid in town.
Corny.
To be fair, he's not even a kid. He's like 40 or something. Can't about with all these kids when you think about it. But it's a weird. When you really go into the deep side of Hairspray, you're like, is this all right?
Nah, but also it's probably not suitable for like a school show. You know?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. It's
a predominantly white school show as well, which was another awkward thing.
Well, yeah, that's not our place to say. I don't think, and like cause fuss over, but it's like it's not.
They did bring Hairspray up to us, and we were going, okay.
It's about segregation. Yeah, with an all white cast.
Not good.
No.
I mean, the show ended up being quite good, and actually, Hairspray's on at the Edinburgh Playhouse right now as well.
So it is. I've seen that. I've seen a few people going to that.
I was in Edinburgh the other day, and I walked past it, and I thought of you, and I thought of all of our friends that we did the show with and stuff like that. I'd recently been to the Playhouse to see Beauty and the Beast, and ironically, another one of your shows.
Yeah, which I was the Beast in. Excuse me.
The Beast and Beauty and the Beast. I was not Beauty, and you also. No, I know. And then, what a career you had before you became a professional actor. I mean, Colin Collins, you were Mal
Beinecke.
My Beinecke from the Addams Family, which we'll talk about in a second. And then the Beast. How was your transformation into the Beast?
It was good. It was a lot of makeup and stuff like that. But you were talking about before, like you needed a team of like 4 people to get you changed and stuff like that. I had a team of 2 people that would follow me about off stage with a fan and a bottle of water with a straw in it because it was just so hot. It was just roasting.
I can't imagine.
They would just follow me about. Yeah. Oh man, and dancing about and stuff like that. And yeah, the one part in that is obviously when I go backstage, I take off these like claw gloves because they were just roasting. And I had to go on for like a dance scene, and I forgot to put my gloves back on for one. And I was out dancing with Belle, and I was out dancing, and I just looked at my hands, and I was like, "It's a scary big beast with human hands." Oh no,
human hands.
Well, yeah, that show was fun as well. And I don't know if it was as fun as Hairspray because that had such an eclectic mix of people. Whereas Beauty and the Beast was I was like the old one of the oldest people there, and like so it was like
I think that was probably all like drama people, right? Whereas like the Hairspray and even Addams Family we did the year after was kind of a strange mix, which was great. And then the one time we properly got a chance to act together in front of a large audience in a large production was for the Addams Family when I was playing amazing. Gomez Addams and you were the neighbour or the new.
No, it's the
my daughter's boyfriend's
dad,
right?
Big angry guy.
Aye.
Funnily enough, I'm going to see Addams Family tomorrow.
Oh yes, no way.
Yeah, there's like a theatre company with the uni that are putting it on, so I'm away to go see that tomorrow.
Do you remember we went to see it at the King's
which
a couple of years after?
was amazing.
It was good, but I remember we were sitting and we were literally not even just singing all the songs, but we were quoting the dialogue as well.
Yeah.
And then at half time came and the people who were sitting next to us went home.
Left.
I hate to be that, those people. Do you know
Well,
what I mean?
I know, but still. Keep no secrets.
Keep no secrets. How?
Yeah,
Honestly.
how?
I know. We had many good times, so it's
Yeah.
lovely to see you. And also, it'd be good to kind of have a proper catch up and have a drink or two next time you're up, or next time I'm down, whenever that happens.
Definitely.
Back to the podcast we're recording. I forgot we're recording.
I don't even know we're doing that. I thought it was just a chat, to be fair.
You wanted the podcast with me today? So we're going to talk about Notting Hill, which was a strange choice because obviously I've known you for many years, as we've said. Maybe you've brought it up before, but I guess we've never actually had that chat where it's like this is one of your favourite films, whatever. So we'll get to that in a second. But in terms of when you were younger, did you have any like favourite films when you were wee, when you first started watching movies and things like that? And the question I always ask my guests is, can you tell us a time where you first went to the cinema? So do you remember any times back then?
Yeah, well, I was a big Harry Potter nut when I was young. Like I used to get how the tattoos where you could put the cloth over your head and you get the scar. I used to go to like school and nursery with that on, with the glasses and stuff. But I think even before that, I was like really into that. We had the Shrek movie on VHS,
class.
So like videotape, and we just constantly watched that, which is amazing. You remember the bit where she sings to the bird? She goes la 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 la, and the bird explodes.
Yeah.
So I just used to love that bit, and I'd die laughing. And my big brother would watch it with me and just have to rewind it constantly because that bit was just amazing.
Do you remember in Shrek 2? Do you remember in Shrek 2 when Shrek and Fiona first came out the carriage and one of the guys is like playing a trumpet thing? And it's like this shock of like it's the fact it's the ogres and it's not the humans or whatever. And there's a bird and it looks down and it runs into like a window. Do you remember? That was the bit that ended me when I was younger as well. Like I don't know what it is for these birds.
I don't know. It's just the wee quick bits that always got me.
I know, the wee dead birds.
We did birds. But my first, I don't know if it was my first, I don't think it was my first time ever going to the cinema, but my first ever memory of going to the cinema was somehow my grandma had managed to take my big brother and I in to go see James Bond Die Another Day.
Right.
When I was probably too young to go in and see it. But she used to do this thing where we would take in like a couple of packs of McCoys and like a couple of cans of Vimto and stuff like that and just go, you want some, son? You want some? You want some? You want some? You want some? Just if people must have hated us when we went in.
Oh man!
But that film, the bit where they're driving over the ice and the Aston Martin and all the shooting bit, I mind just being so like distraught by it because it was so loud and my grandma had to go like this with my hands over my ears because I was just definitely too young to see Die Another Day. So yeah, I think that's my first one. What's your first one?
First one's Monsters Inc. 2001. I've never seen Die Another Day. I've only seen a few Bond films, and I recently got the big box set. I wanted to do some form of season, and I was talking to that, and of course there's one person who's like, oh well, I'll come on every single episode. Ian Grieve. So he'll be on to talk about every James Bond film. But that's a good one. Die Another Day. Yeah. So mine was Monsters Inc. And you remember have you seen Monsters Inc?
Yeah.
You know the start of it when they're like training the monsters and stuff, and it's like it's like a robotic child or whatever, right? But before you know it's a robotic child, it just looks like there's a scary monster coming out of a cupboard or whatever.
Is it like the face comes off or something like that? Yeah.
Aye, and it's like the fake scream or whatever.
Aye.
Looking back at that now, that's a pretty scary moment.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, well, these sorts of films, that's like DreamWorks, was it? I think that's DreamWorks.
Yeah. Oh no, that's Pixar. Pixar, sorry. DreamWorks, yeah.
Aye. All of them are the same. They all just throw in these things that don't seem scary, but then when you look at it and you have like a conscience, you're just like, well, that is actually pretty nuts that was
Yeah.
in that film for kids.
Absolutely. I think that's a wee trick that they do, though. It's like we know this is going to be a kids' film or a family film, but we need to put some stuff in there that like adults are going to like as well. Do you know what I mean? So you'll have plenty of like sex innuendos in DreamWorks films, like with Shrek and Fiona and stuff in Shrek. Do you know what I mean? That aren't too graphic, obviously, but you'll hear it once in a while when you're older, and you go, "I didn't even bat an eyelid at that when I was younger."
Right over the head,
which is clever.
Yeah, it just keeps people watching, doesn't it? That's the whole thing with filmmaking.
Absolutely. So Shrek's a good shout. Die Another Day. Any like classic memories that you've got in terms of like going to the cinema, seeing big films? Did you ever go to like a midnight premiere, or did you see any big releases in the cinema?
So I remember going to the IMAX with my dad and my big brother to go see. It was the Harry Potter, the fifth one.
Fifth one is the Half-Blood Prince, Order of the Phoenix.
Order of the Phoenix, where they're flying on the Thestrals.
Right.
It would like come out to you. It was amazing. I might go to see it and I was just like, I love Harry Potter, man. And then also the last one we went to go see, and it was just like, oh man, so emotional, such build up. Because my dad used to read the books to me when I was younger, before I'd go to sleep. So we just it was good.
Currently reading one of the books.
Oh, what one?
Last one, Deathly Hallows.
There
we go. Now, I've seen all the Harry Potter films before, but
it's added the extra stuff, right?
The story goes, man, like, I remember it well because it was like 26... I was late. I did not grow up with Harry Potter. It was like 2016, 2017. I was watching them for the first time. Do you know what I mean? And it was when I was at drama college, so I was like always knackered and stuff like that, falling asleep. So I don't have the greatest memory of them. Do you know what I mean? I know I watched them and I know I liked them and stuff. So what I've been doing this past year or two is I'm reading the book and then watching the film, then reading the book, then watching the film. And it's been this brilliant like way to kind of learn about everything. And there's big moments that are happening that like people would remember if you've like been a fan of the films or whatever, but like I just don't remember for some reason. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm reading the book, and there's been a few times I'm just like, like shocked at what I'm reading, which I suppose is what you're after. You don't want to know too much about it.
Definitely.
You got a favourite Harry Potter?
Goblet of Fire has to be Goblet of Fire
with Cedric.
Yeah, it's my favourite. It's the best one. I don't know. I think there was I think there's such a good shift in it from like the others. As much as Prisoner of Azkaban was kind of dark as well, the Goblet of Fire was really. It was like one of his friends that had to be sacrificed. You know what I mean? And like
Absolutely.
the trials that he had to go through. It wasn't like. It always seemed that he kind of brought it upon himself, right? And then Goblet of Fire, someone has put him in this situation where he needs to get out of, which I always thought was just like a changing point. Even when I was a wee guy, I was like, this is so cool. Just loved it.
It's a good call. That's a great film too, and that's a, as you say, that's a big changing moment. Whereas, like, I think I always said Prisoner of Azkaban was my favourite one because it was the first really serious one. But I think when I watched them this time round, I think I might have preferred Goblet of Fire because it's like he's in severe trouble. You know what I mean? The first two are so full of like magic and it's all happy. Well, not all happy, but there's lots of happy moments and stuff like that. Especially that first one. The music is much more cheery anyway. And then you get to these sort of films after, as you say, Goblet of Fire. It gets really dark
like,
and stuff.
It's just like you know where you are, right? You know where you are. You're in this magical world, like of wizards and witches and stuff. So you're just straight into it, and it does show like the darker side of it. You know what I mean? It was
absolutely
good. Enjoyed it.
I'd recommend the books too if you're ever
they're good
to reread
really
them.
Good.
You know what I mean? If anyone's a fan who hasn't read them, you know what I mean. It's definitely something to listen to. Or to read. I did listen to actually Stephen Fry reading some of them. Yeah, they're really good.
Just awesome.
Great. Okay, so I sent Cammy a message the other day saying, "Oh well, I'm getting people on the podcast and stuff. Would you like to join?" I said, "You're going to need to pick the film," and within seconds, you replied with this classic from 1999, Notting Hill, and I was very happy because I'd never seen it, and that's kind of the point. I want to get as many people on to pick their favourite films, and then it makes me watch them and stuff. There's been plenty of instances recently where that's happened. So tell me, why was it like immediately your choice for this episode?
No, I think it is a great film as well. It could do with some polishing up, I think, and like the story writing. But that's just Richard Curtis, and that's rom
Right.
coms for you. But I just think I remember the first time I watched it. It wasn't even that long ago that I watched it for the first time. You
Really?
know, yeah, it was a few years ago, maybe. And I just watched it, and I was just like, "Oh God, it makes me feel so happy and sad at the same time." I just love it. I love Hugh Grant. I think he's perfect for these sort of roles. I just think he is. It
I
is
mean,
him.
he's done plenty of them. Do you know what I
That's what
mean?
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But Notting Hill's the best one. Julia Roberts is actually fantastic in it as well. The part where she goes up and she says, "I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy, asking him to love her," and I was just like, "Ah."
Well, I actually got moved there when you delivered that line. Whew.
This is actually a casting for me playing Julia Roberts' role in Notting Hill.
I'm joined this week by Julia Roberts.
I wish.
No, I know. Yeah. So
But
for
yeah.
those who haven't seen it, tell us what's the kind of the plot? Not, and that sounds really serious, but tell us what it's about.
So, Hugh Grant's character, William Thacker, is a down on his luck book salesman, and one day a world famous actress stumbles into his shop, and there comes a world famous story: a
Yes.
love, a romance, heartbreak, more
Yes.
than once.
Yeah. A bit of a roller coaster.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I watched it. I watched it last night. Just wanted it to be as fresh as possible, you know.
Good. Love that.
So I watched it last night with Megan, and I was like, I think it's a different view on male and female. I was going, she's such a cow, and she was like, no, she's not, and I was like, nah, she is though. Come on, he's messing him about. Yeah,
That's interesting. That is interesting.
it's
Because
just
obviously,
different view, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely, and as well, the fact this is like late '90s, there
Hmm.
was lots of films that came out around that time that were kind of like this, and I don't care what anybody says, but like even films from that long ago have their own style. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like people always say
Definitely.
'80s is such an '80s film, but
Yeah.
there's such a late
Nine,
'90s style of film too.
late
You know what I mean?
90s, early 2000s sort of era, like
100%.
Bridget Jones. You know
Legally
what I mean?
Blonde,
Legally
um,
Blonde.
American Pie, things like this. Like they're all kind of
Yeah,
like daft,
yeah.
daft comedies like that. You know.
Daft kind of like rom coms, more focusing on like the comedy aspect of it. You know,
Yeah,
I, I, th-
absolutely.
I think I think I think the story as well covers a lot of ground. Like I just think there's a lot of thought into it. It's just a group of British folk just all down on their luck, apart from the person who should feel the most down on the luck. His
Right.
pal who's in the wheelchair, who actually has the most positive outlook out of all of them, which I think is interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Like every time I watch it, I forget, and I'm like, oh, she's actually the most positive person out of a lot of them, who are all able-bodied and able to go and live their life, whereas she has a handicap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I think it's awesome for its time. I think as well, 1999. Obviously, you would expect that now
Right.
for well, I suppose if it was done now, it would be someone who is actually paralysed from the waist down that would get cast as it.
Right.
But yeah,
I thought that
it's
was
just
interesting. Yeah.
yeah,
And as you say, Richard Curtis as well, who I'm a big fan of because I've always been a fan of like Mr. Bean and like
mm,
Rowan Atkinson. I always say is like my favourite actor of all time. He's like the person I like when I was younger I looked up to and stuff like that. I would like perform as like one man shows and stuff in my living room and all that stuff, you know what I mean?
yeah,
So he was always like the writer of Mr. Bean. What else did he do? So Richard Curtis wrote Blackadder. He
yeah.
wrote Mr. Bean. He wrote Not the 9 o'clock News. Casualty, Doctor Who. He wrote all these things or episodes of these
Four
things.
weddings and a funeral.
And then we got the films Four Weddings and a Funeral. Absolutely amazing film, Christmas film, story, things like that.
Hmm.
He also wrote a film called The Tall Guy, which does not include that Cammy or myself.
No,
He also wrote the Bean movie, Bridget Jones' Diary, Love Actually, and
Love
another
Actually. Yeah,
classic film. Um, Bridget Jones, as I said, let's see, Mr. Bean's Holiday, The Boat That Rocked, About Time, Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. He was an executive on that, and he also wrote
wow.
Yesterday. Jeez, oh. Um,
Yeah.
So a brilliant
It's
writer.
yeah, yeah, and a definite style. I would say for
Yeah,
especially for his films. I think that's just so cool when you watch things like that and you're just like, oh, it's definitely a Richard Curtis. It's
yeah,
definitely this. It's definitely that. I just think that's so cool. That's what I love about film and television. I just think there's such a definite style. You can get it in plays as well, but
of course.
I would say more so in film and television. There's definite styles. Directors, writers, actors, especially just play.
Yeah,
Most people play their self nowadays,
yeah.
which is annoying, having trained for, for a
True.
few years
We've
to
been
play
knocking
other
our
people,
pan in trying to do this.
and now we just play yourself. All right, brilliant.
Um, I think you're right about in terms of like how to tell a story in a film. Like you can, and TV shows are great and stuff, but I always prefer films because it's like within 2 hours, you're like
Yeah,
you're caring about these people. You really
yeah,
want to know what happens to them, and you're really invested in the story. And Richard Curtis has had plenty of examples of that. Clearly,
yeah, definitely, definitely. I think so. Well, see on the flip side, I'm more of a TV series sort of person because I just
yeah,
want to know. I just want to know more.
yeah,
So like after the film is done, it's like, oh god, I want to know this. I want to know this. And I just like the progress of going through this series and like these plot points that are coming up are just getting checked off as you're going.
yeah.
If you get a really good TV series and it's just getting checked along, or like this bit's going down here, this bit's going here. Bad TV series now, don't get me started.
Oh well, I'd love to get you started if you have a couple of examples, but
Well, try to think.
or,
I
or
think,
on the other side of the coin, like, have you got any good examples that you've been watching recently?
well, I think I've got a good and a bad one. What I've watched recently, I've been watching. We just finished Line of Duty. We're caught up to date with it.
Right.
But I feel like if that is the true ending, then there should have been someone else writing the ending for it.
Oh, really? Okay, I've not seen it, so don't tell
Yeah,
me
I
anything.
won't tell you, but it just kind of ends and peters off. But
Right.
they were really good throughout the early series. I think there's what, 6 series or 5 seasons. I don't know. I can't remember. But every series focuses on one bent cop, so like a
Right.
corrupt police officer, and it just checks it off as you go. And as it was getting further and further on, they were getting more funky with it and running over the storylines over and other series. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's where your issue comes. As much as Jed Mercurio, the writer, director, like creator of it, is amazing at crime dramas. Like he writes so many of them. I just think you can take a step too far sometimes, and
I agree.
it's just like you've made this hard for yourselves, like Game of Thrones as well, on a much bigger scale. They kind of
Right.
just threw it all away. I think for the last season, so many unanswered things, and people were just like, "Ugh,
Right.
such an amazing show," and for what for it to have such a
It's kind of
kind
a
of
disappointing ending. That's interesting as well
yeah,
because like TV shows can run on too long. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, I don't know if it's me just being lazy and stuff, but see when I see a show that is really long, it'll put me off watching it.
mm,
I don't know if it's just because there's history of like shows going on too long or whatever. Like one of my favorite shows of all time is Dexter, and it
mm,
has like 8 seasons, and like I think 8 seasons is far too much.
yeah,
Um, but like I watched that, so I like that. I like the character, I like the idea and stuff like that. But definitely after the first five, it kind of loses its charm a wee bit. But then like the finale happened in 2013, I believe, or 2012. And like people were just in uproar about it, saying, "Oh, this is not the ending we wanted, and it's been such a long time coming, and we wanted something good for the
did it
character."
not have a resurgence recently?
And then like last year, they just brought it back for like a random series just to kind of rectify the ending. So they did Dexter New Blood, which again was a great show, great series.
Yeah,
But it's also now it's like so many years after, what we thought was like done. So it
yeah,
went too much. And I'm a very big believer in like, have we got no new ideas anymore? You know what I mean? Like I feel like every comedy that comes out now in the cinema is always like something two or something three or something like a sequel
yeah,
to something like we've just had another James Bond, another Spider Man, another Batman, another
mm,
Suicide Squad. There's all
yeah,
these things, and the films are great, but it's like it's been a while since it's been like this brilliant sort of
new
crafted idea
thing.
from start, that people can get
Yeah.
obsessed over,
People live in nostalgia, but right, and when they see
Right,
that come out, it sells tickets, which I think is the issue for
right.
the market for actors and creators and filmmakers and crew. It's people want to like what they like, and instead of being like more wild with it and going, actually, you know what, I'm going to put this on, I'm going to watch this.
Right.
Where people just want to be like this. Oh well, that guy was there in this, and that he done this, and oh, it's linked to that, so I'll just put that on, and it's just safe. It's a safety net for folk
Yeah. I mean,
and for producers, I think, because it's going to make them money, right?
I mean, people always say, "Oh, it's not about the money, though." It's
Hmm.
always about the money because that's how you
Always
make. That's how it's
everything.
business. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
There's a thing
that's yeah.
happening. There's a thing happening in football with teams that are close to me and Cammy's heart. Right now, in Scotland, where there's like a rumours that there's going to be like a friendly happening, an old firm friendly in Australia in the summertime or something like that.
Yeah.
And people
I
are,
think it's at the winter it's going to be because
oh, I
it's
see, right.
during the World Cup or some.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're on the break, isn't it? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
So it's a
But yeah,
friendly between the two teams in Glasgow, Rangers and Celtic, and which was always like this big rivalry, but it's been made into this kind of friendly thing, like for this tournament for like a money grabbing thing, which is
yeah,
it makes sense to me because there's loads and loads of money involved. But the point is, it's like the integrity of the game and the integrity of the rivalry and stuff. So people are kicking off about it, and rightfully so. But at the same time,
rightly
these
so.
these
Yeah,
people don't care. They see the amount of money they're going to get. It's like it's always about money. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter, and that's just what we need to live with. So you're
yeah.
getting another film about this, another Fantastic Beasts is about to come out, and we're getting another thing here and there. It's just always, and I don't have an issue with it because I'm still that guy that's still going to go and see the films. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, me too, me too, me
You know?
too. But yeah, that's the thing. It is just further giving them the ammunition to just keep on pumping out the same stuff almost. But again, as you said, it's like, but it's not a bad thing, but it's not a good thing either. It's like you want a happy medium of you want these like new writing, new directors, new actors, films to come out, and you want these old stuff to come out as well. You want you
Yeah,
want to have a
exactly.
balance, but it doesn't work like that realistically because the new stuff won't make as much money as the
No.
stuff that's.
I guess the last time where something brand new happened, I don't know if it was books before, but it was Avatar. It came out in like 2009 or something like that.
Yeah,
And it was like the highest grossing movie of all
for
time before
years,
Avengers happened and stuff
for
like that.
years, yeah.
And then lo and behold, this year, we're getting Avatar 2. Another one's coming out, you know what I mean? It's just the way
Yeah.
it works. So anyway, back to what we were saying. I don't know how we got into that. What were we talking about?
Wow, so we just seen
Um,
red and rage.
well, I tell you what though, Notting Hill was an original screenplay.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm quite guilty of it too, if I'm honest, in terms of rewatching stuff. Like I'm trying to watch all the kind of Best Picture nominees for this year.
Yeah,
I try
yeah,
to do that, at least watch some of them so I have an understanding. I think it's quite good because then like that's like the films that are out just now. So then in the future when they're like people are talking about them, you can have an understanding of like what that film is like and what was out around the time and stuff, why
yeah.
that won something. So I've got access to all these films and stuff. And I watched Coda last night,
Right.
which was great, and I totally recommend that one.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, like I was very tempted just to put on an episode of Impractical Jokers, which is my favorite TV show. I've seen every episode 3 times. You know what I mean? Because it's a safety blanket of it. So Notting Hill, I'm assuming, is like a safety blanket for you.
I
It's a
would say so.
comfort
I
film.
don't. I don't even. I don't even watch it like all the time.
Right.
I just put it on sometimes. I just forget how good it is, and I think maybe even not how good it is, how good it makes me feel to watch
Right.
it,
That's all that
which I
matters.
think is the thing. Yeah, well, that's what film and TV is for, right?
Yeah.
It's how it makes people feel when they watch it. So yeah,
How would it feel if, for example, we're working 9 to 5, not making very much money, very bog standard life. And what I loved about the characters and stuff of this film was that everybody was so relatable.
yeah,
And it's like it's very much working class. It's very much we're just getting on with this is how life is. We're coming from a small town, things like that. And then boom, the most famous movie star in the world walks in. It
yeah,
just so happens to fall in love with your pal.
yeah.
How would that make you feel if you were working and the favorite actor walks in?
Yeah, it's nuts in it, and it's just That's what as you said, they're so relatable, and like all the reactions I think are so real. But some are a bit like some are a bit pantomime, obviously, but when it's like they're sitting around the dinner table and they're all like,
Right.
what I think is, I just think it brings you into it, and the reactions are a big one for me. When you
Yeah.
see actors reacting across from people, that instantly you're in it with them, because that's how you would react, right?
Right.
If you were
Exactly.
in that, and if you were in that situation, it just brings you into that world instantly. As soon as you see the eyes just kind of flicker a little bit, or
Yeah.
you're just there.
That
It's,
was
well,
that was one of my favourite scenes, like when he first goes to the house with Anna
yeah,
Scott and Julia Roberts,
yeah.
and a lot of people are just like dropping things and like, oh my god, but then like Hugh Bonneville's character doesn't know who she is. Well, he does know who she is, but doesn't realise that it's her.
Yeah.
He was hilarious in this film.
Oh, amazing. He was like, how much money? How much money are you making? $15 million.
He's like, well, you've done all right then.
I
He's really
think
funny.
that after that scene, like at the end of it, when William and Anna leave the house and the door closes and they just go, ah! It's just amazing. The little moments in it I think are brilliant. And also, William's flatmate,
Spike.
the Welsh guy Spike, is absolutely amazing in it. He's hilarious.
Was this like, so I don't know this film. This is the first time I've watched it, right? The other night. I feel like I've seen him before. Like this
Well,
character.
he's well, maybe not that character, but he's
But has he played similar characters?
probably, yeah. But he was in Pirate Radio with Philip Seymour Hoffman. He was
Right.
in the most recent Kingsman film,
All right.
playing the Russian guy, Vlad, I think. He's done it. He's a big like character actor,
Yeah.
and I think that's such a hard skill to do. Like if you are just like so massive, it's hard to toe the line of being unrealistic
Yeah.
and funny, or like realistic and like, see, you know what I mean? There
Yeah,
needs to be like
absolutely.
a happy middle ground. I think he's amazing at it.
I mean,
Hilarious.
look at Hugh Grant. Everybody, when you hear Hugh Grant's name, you just think of the one thing. This is what he does, you know. But then you've
Yeah,
got someone like who plays him, who plays Spike.
it's I think he's called Reese Evans or something like that. I can't remember what his name is.
Uh, yes, Rhys Evans. Yeah,
Reese
absolutely. And
Evans.
you know, I don't know if when his name comes up, people think you know of the Spike
Yeah,
character. You know what I mean? But that
yeah,
must be quite annoying after a while. Did you see The Gentleman film
yeah. I
from
did
2019?
probably
Hugh
up there.
Grant was brilliant in that film.
Probably one of my favorite films. I think The Gentleman. I love Guy Ritchie films, and I think he was excellent in it. So different from what he's done
Right.
usually. So different, which is amazing.
That's what I'm saying. Like people just go, "Oh, Hugh Grant, the guy from Notting Hill, and Four Weddings and a
Or
Funeral,
yeah,
and Love
Bridget
Actually,
Jones.
and Bridget
Yeah,
Jones." You know, like,
yeah,
but you know, and again, that's the thing. It shouldn't be looked at as a bad thing that he does all
no,
those things because it
no,
clearly works for him and he's made lots of money off it. So if that
definitely.
was you, would you be doing other things just for the sake of it? I like the fact he's at the point in his career now where he can do a film like The Gentleman and be completely different.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
so that's really good. Good for Hugh. Um,
For me,
what? Good for Hugh. Who's Hugh? What's the chances of this happening as well? Like really, like if you were to meet, I mean, you're in a bigger city than Glasgow, right? Right now in Manchester. What would happen if a very famous Mancunian came in and was like, "Oh, I heard you're Cameron Macleod."
well,
Would you be like, "All right"?
I'd be like, yeah, fine. Yeah, but I was walking around the shopping centre 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Kevin De Bruyne just walks by me.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, I go. He's. I'm going up the stairs. I'd bought a jacket or something like that, a raincoat, and he was coming down the stairs, and I went, "Oh, all right, mate." And he went, "Hello," and I like ran by. I got to the top of the stairs. I was like, "That was Kevin De Bruyne,
It was
wasn't it?"
Kevin De Bruyne.
And there was a group of like 4 or 5 like younger boys than me. You're running after him,
Oh,
so he was like rushing to get out, right?
aye.
And I was just like, that must just be awful.
And that's what I mean. Like Anna Scott's this character in here. Like
Yeah,
she's literally like, imagine that was your life. We want to be actors. We want to be famous. But do we want to be that?
yeah, I know. Well, that was I seen Molly May as well cutting
Right.
about,
Right.
her and her pal,
Probably on
and
her high horse.
Well, yeah. It was called a Range Rover, but yeah.
Kevin De Bruyne, man, he's probably my favourite player right now in the world. And
Yeah.
another one of my favourite players is Scott Arfield. And he was in my work recently.
Was he?
And I was sitting going, that looks like Scott Arfield, but it's probably not, right? Then the guy walks to the toilet, and I was like, I don't know. He doesn't have like the Scott Arfield walk. He didn't walk to the toilet and do that as he went in. You know what I mean? I just saluted for those people who aren't watching. And then I heard someone come out the toilet, and it was just like, it was Scott Arfield just passed me in the toilet. And I was like, it was Scott Arfield. He must have been taking his daughter to see the panto.
Aye.
Yeah.
The springtime panto.
No, this was before Christmas.
Okay.
There are plenty of like springtime / summertime pantos going on, and I don't understand why.
Money.
What I noted down on my wee Harry Potter notepad here was that Anna Scott, who when she comes into Hugh Grant's life, and I'll call him Hugh Laurie, Hugh Grant's life, she is like the perfect partner, the perfect roommate, the perfect girlfriend. Like she's painted in this way, it's like she's going to be perfect, or whatever. But he also lives with Spike, who is the worst roommate, the worst pal, the worst partner.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really nice kind of contrast. I don't know if it was on purpose or maybe.
I think it's a good point to make. I think it was cool. There's little bits like that when you watch it that just make you go, oh right, that's why he's getting paid a lot of money to write these things.
Right, he's very clever. There's also a really cool scene where like Hugh Grant's walking. I think he's just turned her down, I believe.
Walking through the seasons.
Walks through all 4 seasons. Brilliant.
I think that is after he goes up to the hotel room and Anna Scott's boyfriend is there, big famous actor boyfriend is there, and then he walks out and that's it. They say goodbye to each other and he walks through the 4 seasons through Notting Hill, through it kind of like a callback to like the opening sequence where he's walking through all the markets. So it's kind of that again, which I think is awesome. It's good cinematography, I think.
Yeah.
There's lots of bits. There's lots of bits like the first time they sit on the bench, or the first time Anna sits on the bench, and then the camera comes up right for the park. I think is a really cool shot. It just, the wider and wider it gets, the more like distance you're getting from them, which is I think is like a sign of things to come between them.
It shows how small the town is, you know what I mean, compared to the personality that she has. That's a really nice look. And also, the smile on your face lets me know that you need me. Oh man, what a tune!
The soundtrack is just top, right?
Absolutely.
She by Elvis Costello.
So many good tunes.
How can a broken heart do. Amazing. Al Green, come on.
Come on, in this film. I mean, that Ronan Keating song, When You Say Nothing at All, like I don't think I've heard that song since 1999. You know what I mean?
Nope.
That was a pure throwback. I was like, and I've had it on Spotify right away. What a tune!
But it fits. It fits so well. It fits so well. It's amazing.
You say it best when you say nothing at all.
Amazing. I think just the whole music around it, brilliant.
I thought the bookshop employee Martin, I thought he was brilliant. Yeah. There's a bit where he's trying to make small talk with Anna Scott, and he talks about Demi Moore.
Yeah, and what was the movie he was talking about? Alien.
Aye, with Sigourney Weaver.
Aye. Yeah. His wee bits are amazing in it as well. Like just the wee cutaways and the way he goes, oh.
Aye, it's like it's the perfect reaction to the reactions, you know. It's these wee moments. There's also a bit where like Anna Scott comes back into the shop. This is after all this has gone down and stuff, and she's like kind of apologising to him. And another customer comes in the travel book shop, and Hugh Grant just goes, "Go away immediately."
Go right now. Leave.
Wait immediately. Leave. I don't think that was very nice of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, such a good film. Good story. Lots of mixed signals coming from the both of them. OMG.
Yeah.
Pick a side. You know what I mean?
It touches a lot of bases, a lot of like different like feelings and thoughts and stuff, and things that you think about this world famous actress also is just a person,
Right.
you know,
Exactly.
which I think people don't tend to see celebrities
100%.
as.
I'm very
So,
guilty of that. You know what I mean? Like,
me too, me
you'll
too.
think, oh my god, like there's this famous person, and it's like, imagine. So, for example, my boss at work is cousins with a very famous actor, and I'm always like asking about them and stuff like that. And she's like, oh yeah, he was just over for dinner the other week and stuff. And I was like what?
Yeah,
But it's like just normal for these people because they are just normal people. And I think
yeah.
that this film does a really good job of like making Julia Roberts' character seem very normal. You know,
I stood next to Craig Charles in a pub a couple of weeks
really.
back. Yeah, I just said hello to him, and he went, "All right,
And,
mate, all
and
right,
what did he
mate."
say? He went, "What a wazzick!"
No, he didn't want anything to do with me. And I went, well, enjoy your coffee. And he went, aye, cool, thanks, mate. He went, all right, mate, thank you. And I went, cool, see you later.
I would have said I used to watch Takeshi's Castle before school every morning.
Well, I was going to do that, but then I went, you okay? And he went, kind of
Right,
like looked
don't
away, and
talk to me.
I was like, fair enough, because it was done in Media City, so I think he's
I
filming
see.
something. He's
He's
filming
there
something
often.
down there, yeah. Because I see him quite a lot down there, and he was just he didn't want anything to do with me, and I was like, fair enough, you're a busy
Into the
man.
drink. So I thought the best part of the whole film, I don't know, best part, I don't know, there's lots of really nice moments, but one of my favourite parts anyway, was when Hugh Grant arrives on the set of her latest film and she kind of waves at him like, yeah, I'm here, everything's going to be okay, we'll have a chat. And she doesn't know that he's been let into the set.
Yeah,
And he comes and he sits on a bench and he starts to watch her act, and someone hooks him up with headphones to hear all the dialogue and stuff. And someone says, "Oh, who was that guy you were talking to before we started filming?" And she goes, "Oh, it was no one, like just some person from the past." And there's like this really slow kind of zoom close up of Hugh Grant's face, and
yeah.
it's like the best piece of acting in the entire film. It's a brilliant. Again, goes back to the
It's just
reaction, doesn't it?
reactions, just all
Yeah.
reactions. It's very, very, very Hitchcock, right? But
Right.
just
Right.
a different feeling behind it. It's a feeling of just being distraught. You
Yeah.
thought you've got your chance again, and then that's
Right.
it.
You
That's
know,
it.
we've all been there. It might not be for like a partner or a girl or a boy or something, but like a second chance at a job or a second chance at meeting someone or a second
Mm.
chance at doing something. You feel like it's a really good moment, and then it's just like ripped away from you again. Like
Yeah,
that's something that we can all relate to, you know.
yeah.
And again, that goes back to the writing. So, yeah,
And
brilliant.
it is all down to the reactions. It's all about just your eyes, your craft with the camera as an actor. It's about your craft and like where you are and where your face is, and just showing it through your eyes, which is such a hard thing to do, you know,
Yeah,
especially when the camera's like right up in your grill.
right.
It's just acting with
And
your
it's hard.
eyes.
It's hard to just like get into that zone, especially when there's
Mm,
like lights everywhere and there's people
yeah,
everywhere and there's someone in
yeah.
your ear and like it's really distracting. So when you get a great piece of that, especially in a film like this, it's like
Mm,
you kind of take note of it more, you know?
yeah. I think throughout the film, a lot of like the silences are really really good. I talked about how good the soundtrack was, but how good just the silence is in the scenes.
Between the two of them.
Yeah, between the two
Yeah.
of them, it's almost like theatre. Some of the scenes, just like continuous shots and kind of cutting back and forth a little bit, but just silence between them, and it just helps to build up that tension, the feelings between them, the unsaid, what's not being said between them. It's amazing. I mean, amazing piece of work.
Yeah. This is your favourite film of all time, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I love it. I love it. I'm a sucker for a rom com, so I'm Chris.
I love a rom com. It's just
I
it's
love
easy
Bridget
to
Jones as
watch.
well. I
You
love
know what I
Bridget
mean?
Jones as well.
Never seen it.
Boring.
Never seen it.
Oh man, you need to get that on your list. I'll come back on and talk about them as
Right,
well.
okay. Good. Sorted. A great quote that I wrote down as well is someone said something about when you open Pandora's box,
Yeah,
and Spike says, "I went to school with someone called Pandora. I didn't get to see her box though."
and he laughs for like a minute after it.
Just dreadful.
the
A
bit,
terrible joke.
yeah, the bit where, or the bit where the press turns up at the door and he goes outside and he's like, "Oh, have a look, have a look."
And he comes back and he's like, "You looked brilliant, Spike."
Yeah. Not bad at all.
Butt cheeks clenched. That was great. Also love the moment when he's lying, when Hugh Grant, I just call him he all the time. Hugh Grant's sleeping on the couch because Anna's over.
Yeah.
And he hears someone come down the stairs and he's like, "Oh my God, like she's coming down. We're gonna get back together." And it's Spike. He's like, "She's in a room. Sitting alone." I can't do the accent.
And he goes, "Would you mind if I had a go?"
I do think Hugh
Awful.
Grant's accent is very posh. That's just him, but it's like almost
so
doesn't
posh.
suit the rest of them. You know what I mean? Like
Everyone's
so
so not normal when he's like, yes.
I quite understand how this.
So posh, like he should be on like Downton Abbey or something like that.
Right.
Yeah,
It works as the Prime Minister in Love Actually, but you know,
not
such a good
so
film.
much for a guy who's, well, to be fair, he's got a bloody 3-story flat on Notting Hill. Come on now, the guy
With a
must
blue
have
door. I'd
with
love
a
a blue door.
door. You do.
Aye. Just as we finish up here, tell us like what does this film mean to you? Is this something that what do you think about this film? You know, when you hear its name, and what are you going to think about this going forward?
Well, when I hear Notting Hill, the first thing I think of is the song "She" by Elvis Costello. Right. It's Elvis Costello. My dad loves him, and I don't think that is even like one of his favourite songs of him. But I love that song, and it just reminds me of that. And just I watched it a lot of times with Megan, so there's also that. It's just
Nice.
kind of nostalgia. As I was going on about how nostalgia is a safety blanket for people, blah blah. But that is basically what it is.
True, yeah.
And I think it's also a great film with great scenes in it, great actors,
Lots of heart
in it, yeah. And I think there's a lot to be taken from it, especially the reactions. Young actors try to come through. It's all about your eyes, and it's all about working off the other person and just not being afraid to be a little bit wild with what you're doing. I think, you know.
Yeah,
from an acting standpoint.
But yeah, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. Lovely to see you.
Thanks for having me on the pod. It was lovely.
Long time coming.
Yes.
And you know, maybe we'll do another series of Chris and Cammy Take the Road one day.
Hopefully, in the works. We'll get a budget this time. We'll get some script writers. Yeah. I'll yeah. Art Scotland we're coming for you.
We'll do it like James Corden with the carpool karaoke. We'll have someone pulling the car on another thing.
Yeah.
And we'll just be in the car reacting. So we'll do that.
That's where the budget is not needed, but yeah, that's where the budget comes in.
We'll do that. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. Make sure you tune in next week for another episode. Thank you to my friend, Cameron Macleod.
Thank you, everyone.